to you from the middle of Kane's country. You're listening to the #1 rated football podcast in the Dominican Republic.
Hola.
These are the Orange Bowl Boys.
Brought to you by Ed Morse. Join the 1.75 million people that have been backed by Morse. With the price protection promise, Ed Morse will match any competitor's price or refund you up to $7,500.
Here's Toast, Roman, and Scoop.
Welcome to the Mario era, chapter 25.
25 de Mario. It's me, Mario, episode 25. Me.
Wait. Mario doesn't know Spanish?
Sí.
Oh, he does know Spanish.
Sí. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Yeah, of course.
Well, he said 25.
He said Mario did 25. Yeah, but I said 25.
He did. I know. I thought we'd get a little Spanish Mario today.
25 de Mario. Yeah, there you go. It's me. Bing.
Me Mario. What's up, boys? How we doing?
It's early.
I know.
It's early.
We're recording this thing Friday morning at 8 a.m.
I got
now
coffee.
8:15. Got coffee in hand. Some of us just woke up about 20 minutes ago. What do you boys want to start off with today, man?
There is. Hey, well,
We got some stuff. I mean, listen, we got the update on the career of one Jaren Williams. We've got UM baseball bowing out of the regional. We've got the College Football Hall of Fame. Got a whole bunch of Canes and Canes coaches on the ballot there. I thought that maybe we could even. Looking at the College Football Hall of Fame induction list, I was also curious who are the top 3 quarterbacks in the history of UM in your minds. Top 3, not 4, top 3. So, a bunch of stuff we can talk about today. So, I don't know where you guys want to start. Oh! And Athlon Sports put TVD as 4th team All ACC.
Fourth team.
Fourth team.
I saw that.
All ACC.
I saw that.
Yeah. So
I mean, you guys aren't paying attention. I mean, I can say something else. Like I wanted to say something else,
Sure.
but I'll just say you guys aren't paying attention.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's under rocks.
Yeah.
Straight living under it. Condo, like full 10 stories. Mm-hmm. Like they've built colonies underneath those rocks. That's how long they've been underneath them. If you think that TVD, the guy as a freshman, mind you, redshirt freshman, set an ACC record. Right. Your animosity and your bias is showing. It still exists. It still exists. Although I will say that Mario has kind of changed the narrative a little bit because some of the talking heads before, you'll never get Mario. I've seen the about face. You know, Mario primed to have a resurgence with the University of Miami. Now the headlines have changed. What happened? Mario, it's me. 25.
He actually showed up. They got to say something different now.
Yeah, exactly.
So now they just take shots at John Ruiz and all stuff like that. Like that's never going to end. Man, dude, I don't know how he wakes up every day, looks at Twitter, and is like, all right, yeah, let's just go do this thing, man. Like, just the amount of idiots out there just taking shots at him is just mind-blowing.
And that's the thing, Mr. Ruiz. We've been at this Twitter game for a really, really long time, and there's a lot of ID10Ts on it. If you know what I'm talking about, wink, wink. And they got a lot of experience on you. That's what. That's why. You remember? You know that like old age adage, Toast, Scoop. Like you never debate with idiots because they're going to bring you down to their level and beat you with experience.
Yeah, you can't fix stupid, bro.
You can't.
You can't fix it. It's amazing to me. Like, it's unfixable.
You can try.
But it happen. What Rose said happens.
Yeah.
If you try.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You become stupid.
Yep.
You lose for trying.
There's no winning. No winning there.
No. 0.
All right. Should we head on down to Green Tree?
I think we should.
Oh, whoa. What's up, Scoop?
Just check your phone, would you?
Oh, Jesus Christ. I mean, we're in the middle of a show.
Sorry.
Really? This happening right now?
30 minutes.
Should we head on down to Green Tree, kids?
Yeah, we can do that now.
Line 72. Line 800.
Go!
All right, well, I'll tell you what, before we get into the football and the fun, debatable conversations, why don't we start with the actual news from the week? And that is the wrap-up of the 2021-2022 Miami Hurricane baseball season. They were hosting the Miami Regional, and they got knocked out. They did get a win, but they end up bowing out, and their season is now over. A season that started with such promise and at one point got them up to, I believe, number 2 in the country. Ended with the final 27 games being played under 500. Pretty big sample size. So a lot of folks speculating what this means for the future of the program, for the future of the coaching staff. Guys, where do you want to begin?
I'm not even going to speculate on that. Personally, Rad said we're going to address it after the season. Great. Let him do his job. That's what he was hired for, to make the tough decisions if there's a tough decision to be made. I'm more confused or more baffled by the fact that they gave Miami a national 6 seed after watching the last 28 games of the season, or 26, whatever it was, when they went 13-13 or whatever and got blown out in the ACC tournament and clearly trending down. They weren't even remotely playing well. And they gave them a 6 seed. Awesome. So they go and they get embarrassed at their home regional. I would have preferred to them not have that, go somewhere else, get embarrassed, and we can use the excuse they were on the road.
I won't say they got embarrassed. I mean, they lost, but it's not like they got mercy ruled. Like
they had one dude. They had one dude who could hit in 3 days,
and he did really well for one game. Yo just keeping him alive with 3 homers. Yeah,
you had one guy. Like literally.
Burke was also hit too.
Yeah,
but yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
Yo-Yo
but the
Morales.
perception is okay. So Yo-Yo and Burke, so I was 50% off. The perception is they had one guy who could play.
Yeah, Yo-Yo did well. In its 2 games versus Ole Miss and Arizona, they combined for 8 hits.
Yeah.
8 hits in 18 innings. I mean, that is...
How many runs?
Not enough.
Well,
Not
listen...
enough.
And how many runs were off Yo-Yo's bat? That's what I'm saying.
Oh, well, yeah, exactly. But I mean, listen, I think we were all impressed. I mean, the pitching actually showed up. I mean, I think we were terrified. We were going into this with only Carson. We're like, what the hell is going to happen when we play? But the pitchers actually showed up. The bullpen actually showed up. I mean, you had some moments there. The bats just couldn't get it going. But then again, the bats were going up against top flight pitchers as well on the other side. But just as a whole, I don't know how you look at the second half of the season. Like, I agree with you, Scoop. I understand why they got the number 6 seed because they had been so high. And you know how it's like the same thing with the NCAA basketball tournament. You know, a team that's been really great all season and they have a horrible final month, they'll still give them a favorable seed. It's just the way it happens. But you're right, we didn't deserve it.
But why? Why?
I don't know.
Like,
because they view the body of work.
You get into the heart of it. But it's not. The season, the first half of the season in any situation is not as, I don't care if you're in college baseball, basketball, football, the second half of the season is always more difficult. You're getting into conference schedule. Mm-hmm. Your team is wearing down. You're dealing with injuries. How well are you conditioned? How well can you play at the end of the season? Are you hot at the right time? None of that seems to matter, which the whole body of work to me makes no sense. I've never understood that. If you're playing poorly going into postseason, that's how you're going to play.
Oh, I got you. Listen, for me, the biggest prime example was back in the day. Cincinnati made the NCAA tournament, and Kenyon Martin was their star, and he broke his leg like 2 weeks before the tournament started, and they still put them in there, I think, as a number 1 or number 2 seed, and they got blown out in the first game.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Like they went right out of the tournament. But, you know, they had an amazing regular season. And it's like, yeah. But you're right. I'm more curious as to what happens here now moving forward because I think it's a very interesting conundrum that Radakovich finds himself in. He's been on campus for 6 months. In your first 6 months, do you want to go head-to-head or have that conversation with one of your biggest boosters and trustees that you want to let his son go? Or do you think, you know what? I've only been here 6 months. I can let this one ride for another season before I get into that with tango with the board of trustees
Tough
member.
Conversation. Look, it's
but I'm just curious. For me, it could go either way. Like, personally, I would let Gino go because I don't think he's the right guy. But I could absolutely, more so than with the Manning thing, I could more so see Gino. I think probably right now it's 60-40 in favor of him staying.
See, and I would agree with that. To me, the way that the baseball season ended and what it parallels and the parallel universe that it lives in for me was the 2017 Mark Richt-like season. By the way, both of them got to number 2.
Right.
Both of them were incredibly hot, and both of them fell off the railroad tracks, right? Enough so that Mark Richt bought himself 2018. When that floundered, he was released. Or actually, he stepped down. In this case, I see the same thing happening. You got a super regional. You hosted that at home. Now we weren't supposed to really be good, like contingent and faction are going to be out. We were picked 5th or 6th in the ACC. We ended up having a really good season during the regular season. To me, if he gets himself one extra year from this and they don't go ahead and reset the whole program and go nuclear, because the one thing that's going with Gino right now is the fact that, yes, you had a good, remarkable regular season, enough so that it could have bought you the next year. But Mario, what happened with Mario on the football side does not bode well for Gino. I don't know if he knows that, because you see the infectious attitude. You see everything that's being poured in. You see, even before Mario's even gotten a game, you can see the right coach. You go whale hunting, you get the right baseball coach for the University of Miami. Ooh. But like I said, this is vibes of 2017 where they got hot and they just, Miami ended the season that year with Mark Richt 0-3. So, into the next year, they not good. Not good.
But
0-3.
Would they I get the Mario analogy. I wouldn't say comparison. I get the Mario analogy, but would they invest? Would they truly invest the way they invested in the football program into the baseball program? Because I don't think they would.
Oh, I think they will. I think the next head coach of Miami will make twice or 3 times what Gino was getting paid. I don't know what Gino's making, but I'm assuming he's somewhere in the 200 to 300. Yeah,
right? Are there 5 coaches out there?
He still gets an allowance. His allowance is pretty good.
Are there 5 coaches out there that you can name? I'm not saying name them because we can't. But are there 5 top-tier coaches that you can say, okay, we want to go get one of those guys? We're still dealing with scholarship issues and everything else. So I'm not necessarily sure, right? So, and Roe knows the intricacies better than the other 2 of us. But this, to me, is more so of a detriment than actually getting kids here. That's a huge detriment for getting a top-tier coach here. You're at a disadvantage with scholarships at this program, right? So as a coach, unless the money's
crazy,
too great to turn down, you're thinking, well, wait a minute. I'm truly at a disadvantage as a coach at this university. So how does that really play out to be able to lure the top guy into town?
I don't know. You have other situations. Take Vanderbilt for instance, right? Tennessee, not the big fiddle. Definitely
lightning
not the big
in a bottle,
SEC.
though, Vandy. I mean,
it is, but they've been able to replicate it. They've been able to capture it and manufacture it.
Yeah, they've been pretty consistent over the last 15, 20 years.
So I don't know. And last time I checked, I don't think Vanderbilt has 4 national championships. You still have the ability to get a plethora of talent in your backyard in baseball. We are one of the hotbeds. Baseball.
NIL can help offset the scholarship issue, hopefully, maybe.
Yeah, because the way Vanderbilt did it for years was a huge, endowment that they would carry over and somehow would get it would be applicable to
SEC accounting, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Now we have NIL, but now we have NIL accounting. I don't know. You have the ability here. You did what you were supposed to do. You got into Super Regional. Now if you had the coaching and, some players here and there manage it a little bit differently. How he managed the back end of that Arizona game could be questioned. Baseball is always going to be that way. It's this consummate second-guess sport. Like, what if I didn't put him in? What if I took him out of batter earlier? I get it. When it's all said and done with, bats went cold at the end. You got to look at it on paper. What were teams doing to you? How were they trying to pitch? And how did you adjust? Because ultimately they didn't. And that's a wrap.
For me, the most disturbing thing to come out of that regional was the fact that, according to social media, the best of the custom shakes down there was at Ole Miss Hottie Toddy.
That thing looked gross still. I'm telling you.
I don't understand it.
So I want to know if anybody tried it.
Dude, they said it was the best. They said it was the best of all of them.
Who said what?
People on social media said that was the best of the special shakes.
Well, first of all, I don't believe anything on social media.
Okay.
It's 1,000% not possible. It's not possible. Anyone listening to this show right now, go ahead, send us a tweet, message us. Don't DM us because we don't pay much attention to those. Send us a tweet, and I want to know. There's no chance. There's no chance that's real. Like, you ate the drumstick, right? You ate the chicken wing, and you sucked down the buffalo sauce with the vanilla ice cream shake. Like, stop it already.
I can't imagine, right?
Stock of celery.
And I don't want to call it this, but it is what it is. I mean, the concession stand at Mark Light Field, I cannot, for the life of me, think that they actually have good chicken wings. Oh, wow, the best chicken wings I've ever had was at Mark Light Stadium. No, it's not going to even be a good chicken wing. And it's going to even be like a hint of ice cream. I mean, the fact that they have that little niche with the Mark Light shake is awesome. Those things are good.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine a chicken wing being a very good chicken
wing and a celery stalk.
We need to find out what we have to do to get an Orange Bowl Boys shake on the menu.
Oh, an OBB shake at Mark Light.
OBB shake at Mark Light.
We probably have to advocate that they keep the head coach.
Anyone listening? Well, I don't know. Who makes up the shakes?
I don't know.
There's got to be somebody who makes the shakes.
It's the guy that runs it. I forgot his name. There's a guy that runs the Shake Shack.
Yeah.
Does he listen to the show?
I don't know.
If
Does
you do,
Mr.
go ahead.
Shake? Mr. Mark Light Shake?
Yeah.
We should ask our guest if he's had a Mark Light Shake.
Absolutely. When he pops on here. 100%.
We're having a guest on here.
Well, Scoop says. We'll see.
Hey,
we'll see what happens. We'll see if this mystery person pops in here.
He's just like the president.
Okay, he's like the president. Okay.
As far as trying to get him to communicate,
be easier to book Biden is what you're saying.
Oh, it'd be much easier to book Biden.
All right, so we hit up the baseball. So a little sad story that came out a couple days ago. Jaren Williams has decided to retire from football.
Saw that.
We'll all remember the way he went out, 15 for 22 against Louisville, 253 and 6 touchdowns.
Six tutties.
And that was the high point, no doubt about it. And we wish him nothing but the best in his future endeavors as he navigates life after football.
Yeah, he had a very heartfelt message, and that's the one thing you got to remember. It's easy sometimes to be hypercritical, and then you forget a lot of times that's someone's son. That's a human individual that's dealing with stuff in the background you just can't see. Obviously, mental health is a huge epidemic within a country. Not enough people talk about it. Not enough men talk about it because we like to bottle everything up. But I hope he finds peace and tranquility after football. I mean, I know he can. And, just wish him well. Always do. And that's kind of been the, OBB stance for years. Once we find out that somebody's no longer with the program, that's the eggs stop. We'll call it as it is. We'll watch film. We'll say, hey, that was the wrong read. That was a bad game. And you could talk like that. We could talk like men and be like, hey, listen, that wasn't it. That was a bad performance. That was a bad performance that game. You missed that read. But when it's all said and done with, these are sons that leave it all on in the field. They're getting tackled for our pleasure. They're putting it all on the line for us because we're fans, and we got to remember that. So we wish you well, Jaren.
Look, not to take this because we're not as serious. We try not to be too serious, and I'm going to try not to be too serious. But Ro touched on something very important. Mental health in men. Talk to somebody. Talk to people. Talk to your cat. Talk to anything and anyone who will listen to what you have to get off your mind and get off your chest. I mean, dead ass serious, right? We come on here and we laugh and we joke and we have fun and we do everything that we do every week and we have a blast, right? Because the three of us are the best of friends who love to talk shit, have fun, whatever. The real life conversations that the three of us have had over the years to build each other up, to let each other listen, just to be there for one another, is far beyond the importance of anything we do on this show. So do that. Have somebody, anybody, anything. Just take care of yourself. Honestly, take care of yourself.
Well said. All right, let's get into some fun stuff here. College Football Hall of Fame is getting ready to figure out who they're going to induct this year. And we've got a bunch of Canes on the nomination list. We've got Ray Lewis, we've got Kenny Dorsey, and we've got Bryant McKinney. So three guarantees. Guarantees in my mind. And then we've got two coaches, Mark Richt, obviously primarily for his work at Georgia, and Larry Coker. So I will start with this.
4 out of 5.
I love that list. And listen, I got no problem with Larry Coker. I love Larry, but if Larry is worthy of the College Football Hall of Fame,
so am I.
All this does is just point out how ridiculous it is that Howard Schnellenberger can't even get on the ballot because of his win percentage. Like the fact that you're telling me that Larry is a Hall of Famer and Howard can't even be nominated. That's an issue, and I love the Canes. I love both of them, but there's no way you're telling me that Larry is that much better of a head coach or a better head coach than Howard Schnellenberger in any way.
That's something. That's crazy. I would say the only reason they give Larry a sniff, and
the team was
because of the title.
It's not even that. I think it's the fact that he left and then he started UTSA, wherever he was out.
The Roadrunners.
West Coast.
Well, but Schnellenberger started programs.
I know, I get it. I think it's disgusting.
I
think it's gross. I never think about that. I really don't ever think about that.
I can't fathom how Larry Coker's a Hall of Fame coach and Howard Schnellenberger can't even get on the ballot. What are you talking about? What are we doing here?
We have obviously a reverence for the pipe-wielding, maestro. I don't know. I mean, I just don't see. I agree with you, Toast. I don't see how you talked about lightning in a bottle with Vanderbilt. You want to talk about lightning in a bottle? Just go ahead and look at that '83 national championship, and you'll realize that was the equivalency of try to make that more in a modern day application world where what would that be the equivalency? That's like Coastal Carolina winning the national championship. I mean, a small school, fun offense, maybe. You know what I'm saying?
They were fun last year.
And then the Coastal Carolina of the world ending up beating the Alabamas of the world. That's what Miami did in the 80s. It was hard. I still think, and you got to think, if the Coastal Carolina head coach was able to beat Alabama today, he would be nominated for the Hall of Fame. So I agree, regardless of the winning percentage, what Howard was able to achieve in the accomplishment in the feat in itself, I think so. I think leaving is probably what more so than the record, how he left and to go for a professional team, and maybe that, they feel like it slighted the college
but look
game.
what he did at Louisville, though. He comes back to Louisville and builds that program. Then he starts FAU from scratch.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he didn't have a great run at Oklahoma, but come on, man. You got to be kidding me.
That's pretty wild.
It's insane.
Yeah.
And the fact that his winning percentage overall
what's
isn't...
the reasoning? Because of the winning percentage?
Yes, all because of the winning percentage.
I mean, you guys, anybody pay attention to Joe Namath's stats?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're terrible.
I mean, that dum-dum's in the Hall of Fame.
Terrible.
It's insane. Terrible. So I can't no disrespect to Larry.
Terrible.
But it just shines a ridiculous spotlight on just the stupid arcane rules they have and the fact that Howard doesn't get even looked at because his winning percentage isn't enough to even be considered. I didn't want to get mad today, but now I'm pissed. Right.
What is this bullshit? Is this real?
Yep.
No clue. I mean, I knew, but it's you don't really think about it because it's so absurd. Mm-hmm. You don't think it's actually true that he's not in?
He can't even get, not even considered. They won't even consider him. You can't even get a vote because his winning percentage isn't good enough.
Yeah, you can't even put it up.
Can't even put it up for him. It's what? It's oh my God. I don't even know what's happening. So, but congrats to all of those guys. So let's move on to this. So Kenny Dorsey being on there, and I just started thinking to myself, if you had to pick your top 3 UM quarterbacks of all time, Who are they? And rank them. And this is based on what they did at Miami, not what they did afterwards in the pros.
For me, it's Gino, Jim, and Kenny.
Really?
I think, yeah. Gino, Jim, and Kelly. If it's three, yeah. I mean, you got a guy that won a Heisman, a guy that won a national championship, and another guy who's kicked cancer's ass like 10 times. Yeah, they're in my Hall of Fame.
So I would.
Gino won national championships too.
Yeah, so I had. Yes, I'm Vinny. I'm Gino. And then I'm Dorsey.
Yeah. Okay. So similar. You just have. You know, I'm not putting Vinny on there, right?
I mean, listen. I mean, I love Jim, but I just don't think that in terms of his career stats that he's top 3 at the school.
Vinny's tall. Vinny's super tall. I met him. Yeah. I was 6'5", he came back guy. To Miami Hurricane. Obviously, his son was playing with the University of Miami Hurricanes at the time. Tall guy, and it was so cute because literally I have a picture of it. Franco, my son, was tiny, and he just went in his lap. Just went into his lap. He went down, hey, buddy, and he just sat on his lap. And I'm like, well, you're stuck now. You got to take the picture. So he took a picture with my family. Super nice guy. And then in the back of my mind, I'm like, you threw a lot of picks in a national championship game.
You did, yeah. more than 4.
How much did they pay you?
Yeah, more than 4. Did he have 5 all season?
Yeah.
I'm just curious. I don't know the answer to that. Somebody should give us the answer if he had 5 all year.
That's like my story where I played a regular season when I was at St. Thomas. I only had one interception. Yeah, and I threw 4 to the same guy. And I threw 1 all season, regular season, and in that game it was just.
Who
and
was
I remember
what was that guy's name?
Listen, no, I'll get there. So this was. You got to love it when your English teacher, who also subs as your offensive coordinator, when you go to his class first period, has the Bradenton newspaper on your desk, right? Like you actually got the new. This is before social media, so it wasn't just like a link in here. I mean, you physically had to get the paper from Bradenton, like through the weekend. You highlighted this, which was forever. Will forever be stuck. This is like, we're getting like 25, 30 years later. It said Alfonso Roundtree was the leading wide receiver with 102 yards and 2 touchdowns. Unfortunately for Raiders quarterback Frank Marciette, he played for the other team. And that's what he highlighted on the Bradenton South paper.
I mean...
Thanks. After all these years, Coach Hackett, you're a dick, okay? Dick move.
Talking about mental health.
There you go. Way to put that on a 16-year-old's desk.
Is he still alive, that
guy? If he is.
Wow.
Does he listen, you think?
He's a dick.
Fan?
If he isn't, God rests your soul in the afterlife.
Oh, my God.
Is he still teach there? Maybe he still teaches English.
I don't know. He was on the baseball team, too.
So let me ask you this. Because when I was making my list of top 3, and it's just based on your career, there was a name that I was wondering if he's got to be in there just because of his career stats. Brad Kaya. He's the all-time leading passer in Miami.
I haven't given my 3.
Oh, okay. Scoop, go. Yeah, go. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I mean, you brought it up. So I'm going to go Gino. Look, Gino won the Heisman. Gino belongs there. Mm-hmm. National championship. He got Lamar drafted. Just saying.
Should have handed it off.
Lamar drafted. I love that.
Hold on, Scoop. What if when Lamar says that nobody damn won the Heisman by handing off the ball? What if Gino looked right at Lamar in that moment and be like, what if I hand off the ball to you?
Oh.
Nah, that just like puts a screech to all the alternate reality timelines on that one.
Holy hell. I'd be upset about that.
Yeah, we'll have to ask them. We'll have to ask Lamar.
Well, we will ask. So I'm going Gino.
Yep.
I'm going Kenny because it's a given. Mm-hmm. And then I'm going Mr. Bradley Kaya.
Okay.
Because I think that Brad had a hand behind his back, and he still eclipsed the numbers that he eclipsed.
In 3 years.
Yes. Yeah, he's top 3 for me all day.
So, yeah, all right. I go with that.
Mm-hmm.
You know who can get on this list?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
He can.
He could. Mm-hmm. He won't be here long enough.
He's going
to have a season and a half.
Yeah, he's going to have a season and a half, bro. That's it.
I mean, he's going to have 18 months of production.
I don't think that's going to be enough.
See, he wins. No, here's the thing. You win an ace for the starving Miami Hurricane fans.
Yeah.
You turn around and say you win the ACC. I'm not saying you have to win the national championship.
Yeah.
You win the ACC. You get drafted high. Mm-hmm. He's like a side face of like the Mount Rushmore of QBs.
Sure.
He's on it, right?
Absolutely.
So
doable.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be a big year, though.
Phenomenal year. One loss year.
We knew he was good, but he set records last year. We're like, damn, that boy's good.
No, we knew he was that good. We told you he was that good.
I think that's the biggest. That's the biggest question mark for me. Is does he continue right where he left off, or is there like a or is he good or really good and just not freaking insane? Like, know what I'm saying? Like, does he come out and just throws for 250 and 2 touchdowns? You know, which is fine.
And no picks, but it's 78%. I mean,
so we'll see.
There's going to be variables. I think the biggest thing for me, and I still am really, 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 really surprised that this happens on a consistent basis, is how good Mario says he is. Publicly. Mm-hmm. What I'm shocked by. I'm honestly, because Mario doesn't quite seem like the guy that's going to give anyone really a bunch of praise, because he wants this competition. He wants always to have the foot on the gas of you need to get better every day, and I'm sure he does privately, but publicly, I mean, the accolades he provides publicly for Tyler is shocking to me. Which makes me think that Tyler really does do all the right things. Bless you. See how that works, Ro? Before he does that, he hits the mute button.
My sneezes come on like freight trains, buddy. At that time, I can't even find the mute button. That's gonna be it's gonna be when I'm older and like some old folks' home. That is going to be the cause of death. I'm going to sneeze because the barrow trauma it creates every time I sneeze.
Listen,
it all happened. I got bronchitis as a kid. After that, I sneeze like a dilapidated walrus.
Here is a little medical advice for you. I know somebody that was bending over to pick something up, and he held in a sneeze.
And
he is now like dealt with like seizures. Like it messed with, like it felt like he got like Tyson hit him in the head. Yeah, so don't ever hold in a sneeze. Don't hold him in, no matter where you are. Let it go.
Holding in sneezes, I've done it.
Don't let it go.
It never feels good.
No, it does not feel good to hold in a sneeze.
Right? Like, and why?
Yeah.
Like, what do you, I mean, what type
you don't want to get snot all over everybody?
What's the pressure that you're then
keeping
holding in?
Yeah.
Like, what's the, is that a negative G or is that a G? Like, what are you putting inside you that shouldn't be there?
Mach 10.
As far as barometric pressure.
Sure, something like that. Barometric pressure sounds good.
Right? I mean, literally, it feels like your head's going to blow off.
Yeah. So just a little life lesson.
I've heard of that being like a really bad thing.
Really bad
You should
thing.
never do that. Like it's giving people heart attacks and it's like ruptured people's, aneurysms and shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it fucked them up bad. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That is no bueno.
No bueno, baby. No bueno at all.
No bueno.
No bueno.
Mario.
Athlon. I don't get Athlon. I mean, I remember when I was a kid, I'd always grab Athlon and Sporting News and all
the
that
magazine.
stuff. Yeah, they had the magazine.
It's the only thing that I know them to be any good at.
Yeah, exactly. So they came out with their, I don't know if this was their college football issue or their ACC issue, but they did the all ACC teams for football. And Kane's very well represented. You've got Zion and Lou Headley, first team all ACC. You've got Rooster, Mallory, DJ, Reek, and Andy Borregales as second team. You've got Keyshawn Smith and Leonard Taylor as third team.
Hold on.
And then fourth team, you've got JHH, James Williams, and TVD.
Go back to
So where you want to start with this?
go back to second team.
Second team is Rooster, Mallory, DJ Scaife, Reek, and Andy Borregales.
DJ Scaife.
Yeah, that was the one that, yep.
Okay. All right. So you've got DJ Scaife second team, and you've got Tyler fourth team.
Yes.
I can't even talk about this nonsense.
Well, you better.
What is worse,
how do you talk about
not putting Howard on the Hall of Fame or putting Tyler Van Dyke on a 14 All-ACC list?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
They're saying there's three quarterbacks that are just absolutely better than him in the conference.
I think it's
hard to discuss this.
They think it's cool. You know, it's posh to be like, well, Miami's never been good. So
They want to be the contrarian.
Right,
with this.
right.
And be like, see, we told you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, exactly. That's all it is.
Right?
It's
and-
the one
and-
person,
and
no
if
matter
they-
what,
dude, it's
who's
just hedging.
always
Right.
who's always got to be the contrarian. No matter whatever the popular consensus is, they have to be the contrarian. And I see those types of people coming from a mile away, and it's like, go away. Go back into
so when he
condominium
shows
under a
out,
rock.
they're like, oh, well, he didn't quite have the body of work last year. So,
Right, sure.
When he does show out, what in your mind made you believe he wasn't? What go ahead now your card's got to be on the table. You picked him fourth. He's balling out again. He did it last year. What was your issue? Oh, we saw things on film. Okay, great. I'd love to have that discussion to see what on film that you guys saw that maybe we didn't see.
They wanted this to happen. They wanted Kane's podcast to start debating it so folks go buy the Athlon, whatever.
And it's the off season, and we appreciate you, Athlon. Give us a talking bit.
Yeah.
That's it. Give us a talking point. That's all. We'll bite.
I mean, listen, I love the fact that we got so much representation throughout that entire list. It's just I'd like to think that this team has more than just two first teamers. And, obviously Lou could very easily win the Lou Groza Award this year.
And
everyone is talking about the growth of Zion.
They're not even taking into consideration some people we took in the transfer portal who could be very damn good too. So
like Mesmador
exactly.
Yeah.
So I got high hopes for him.
Well, think about it. Only two. You say only two. I don't know if there's more than two.
I would think
unless
that
Tyler's there.
I would think in this conference,
three.
Reek is a first team cornerback.
You have some people that could go ahead and can play as number ones, but it's going to be contingent on the seasons that they have. I could see it's going to be tough for Rooster because there's just so many people. In the
I know.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
But if he's a feature guy, that's fine.
Realistically,
Reek, I don't know.
How many
Zion makes sense. Tyler makes sense. Will Mallory makes sense to me too as a tight end, but the ACC always some stud tight end from Syracuse emerges or Wake Forest or something stupid because they just throw him the ball every single time because that's what they do.
I think the issue with the tight end thing is that our tight end room is going to be deep,
loaded too.
Yeah, and they're going to get Arroyo's going to get Byrne and Jaleel. So Mallory, if he's the guy at NC State.
Yeah, it's different than the guy
It's
at
different
Miami.
than being 1A here, and especially in Gaddis's offense, where they're utilized.
When you take J-Dub, Tay, Reek, or I guess right now Ivy would be the second cornerback, how close are we? How close is that unit to a Legion of Boom? At least three of them.
Well, but we're missing DP2 though. I think Daryl Porter comes in and starts.
Oh, you think it's DP2?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's Reek and Porter.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying, this secondary now, the back end of this defense, is this the best secondary in the conference?
It can be. It can be.
Right.
It can be. I mean, a lot of it's contingent on players that need to step up who haven't in the past. I mean,
the talent's there.
DJ Ivey. Yeah, DJ Ivey's always had the prototype body. They talk about his speed, and obviously when he was in camp circuits, he's the guy. Just hasn't put it out there yet. That's going to be a guy you potentially have to rely on. Blades has been injured. You're probably going to have to rely on him because regardless, you can have Reek and Porter. They still.
Yeah.
Transitioning.
All right.
Somebody's acting like a big fanboy.
Sorry.
Yeah. There might be a fanboy. Hold on. There's someone in the waiting room. Let's see what happens here.
Let's see what happens here. Push that button. He's 8,000 miles away.
My God.
How you guys doing?
Oh, my goodness.
I don't even know what
Look at this.
fuck is happening right now.
All right. Let's get a little intro done here.
Okay. Intro toast. Intro.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we are welcomed by a huge Canes fan. He attended Miami Coral Park Senior High School, only 7 miles from the UM campus. You may have seen him in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It's Joaquin Torres. All of us know him as Fanboy. Ladies and gentlemen, from Top Gun Maverick, the biggest Kane fan in the world right now, Mr. Danny Ramirez!
Hey, what's up, y'all? Thank you for having me, man. This is it took a minute to get it done, but I'm glad that we're here.
He is like, I said it earlier, Danny is like, it's like trying to get a hold of the president.
It's been the craziest time of my life, and then I'm out here. I flew from doing press for Top Gun straight onto doing a show that I can't talk about quite yet, but yeah, we're here in Spain, which is kind of beautiful. Marbella looks like Miami, so it feels like back home.
Yeah.
Dude, he's in Spain.
No, we can talk on it.
This is incredible.
It's Top Gun Maverick 2. It's Top Gun Maverick 2. He's on set of
it. Maverick is Top Gun Maverick 2.
Yeah, exactly.
So we already did the sequel. This would be something else.
All right, Danny, so let's talk about this. Before we get into your Kane fandom and everything.
Yeah.
So I went with the wife last weekend. Obviously, we're of an age where we remember when the first one came out, and it was everything. We walk out of this one, my wife tells me that she cried three times during it. It was
crazy. The amount of tears.
It was such a good, old-fashioned, just fun movie, man. The whole auditorium started clapping when it was over. Like it was just refreshing to go into a movie and just have fun for 2 hours and 11 minutes. How much fun was it for you to be a part of this, and how mind-blowing?
Yeah, well, I think I shot this before Falcon and the Winter Soldier. This was 2018, 2019. It was one of my first 3 movies. But to me, it's joining to. I compare it to the 01 Canes, just to bring it around. It's a bunch of greats got together and decided to throw down to make a film that hadn't been made in 33 years at that point. And just from the director, Joe Kosinski, he's phenomenal at everything he does, to Jerry Bruckheimer, to Claudio Miranda, who is an Oscar award-winning cinematographer, to Tom Cruise, Miles Teller, Jennifer Connelly, John Hamm, literally the entire roster was stacked.
It was.
So the entire 10 months, I was just all right, we're jumping to the top of the top right away. So everything was about learning as much as I could. It was about soaking it all in, because I do want to end up directing, and I think it's happening sooner than later. So it felt like going to, I can't even say graduate program, because it's such a higher level kind of playing field. I walked out with my doctorates in film and then some. It was wild, man. It genuinely was a lot of fun, and the training kind of set the stage to make it fun, but also gritty and taxing on the body. But yeah.
Yeah, you had to do 2-a-days on the Green Tree. I mean, that wasn't an easy film to prepare for. I mean, come on, Danny. Well, first of all, my son watched it. He's 10 years old. He comes out, he goes, Dad, that was a 10 out of 10. That might be my favorite movie. And he's been making airplane sounds since that movie.
Wow.
It's phenomenal. And I got an Easter egg for you, Danny, in your own movie. In the last, when you're actually on the flight deck of the aircraft carrier and it's about to take off, one of the planes actually has 3 numbers on it. I swear to you.
Yo.
305. I was like, that's Danny's plane. That's Danny's plane. It was, I caught it real quick. I'm like, the 305. There you go.
It was like, it wasn't planned. It was just something that as I saw it, I was like, Joe doesn't know what an amazing, like, how amazing that was for me. I first saw it the first time it was a 40-foot screen. And I was like, no, you're kidding me.
Yeah, I saw the same thing in the same fashion.
It was nuts. It was
awesome. Yeah.
I'm glad that you picked up on that. There's a couple people that ended up shouting it out later.
Yeah, there you go.
We pick up stupid stuff. That's our job. Speaking of stupid stuff, who on the set pulled off the best prank, you think?
The best prank? I mean, obviously, there's every single day there's like scaring pranks. There was, I think the level of prank was, since we were always on naval bases, it had to stay within an acceptable, respectable limit. So I think, I mean, this wasn't a prank, but I mean, as far as I know, one day my trailer caught on fire in Los Angeles. My couch. I walk in and it's about to combust, and so they had to go in there with an exhaust, like a fire extinguisher, and take it off. So unless that was somebody's prank, that was the most intense. I think it was a bunch of scaring pranks and a bunch of other than scaring, it wasn't much pranking. It was just talking shit, you know.
Okay, well, who had the best shit talking?
The best shit talking, I'd probably say Tarzan or Miles. And Jay Ellis, actually. The four of us, when we get together, it's just like a real sentence doesn't come out. It's all bits. We're in the middle of a perpetual bit. So I don't know if I've actually met them yet, or if they're just like still in that first bit of when they introduce themselves to me.
That's like a metaphor for the Orange Bowl boys. That is
right.
So us.
Yeah, that's good.
We've been in a perpetual bits for 400 episodes.
What was Miles? What was Miles' feelings about that mustache? You think he might keep it? Because the resemblance to Anthony Edwards was uncanny.
It was. They did such a good job of figuring that out, and like not even figuring out, but just like it aligning the way it did. Because it's also hard and soul, and you're like, yeah, that's Goose's kid. I think he enjoyed it. He definitely, whenever he'd put bits of it on or off. I'm not sure if it was a full. I'm not actually. I don't even want to put something out there saying it wasn't a real mustache.
Well, can he grow a real mustache? You don't even know.
Looks
can
good.
He? Is this real?
I don't
know.
No.
I'm pretty sure it was. I'm pretty sure there's parts of it that were, and depending on when we were shooting and how much, because we did have like the hiatus of like a month and a half or a month during the holidays, so maybe. But I don't know. That's one that I'm going to stay out of that one, just so I don't undercut his mustache, man. It's becoming a cultural phenomenon, that thing. That thing's like having a life of its own.
Yeah.
He's bringing it back.
Well, I'm sure there's a Twitter account just for that mustache.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Yeah.
He brought back one of the most iconic mustaches ever right now.
I mean, UM kicker Andy Borregales has his UM stash like Twitter handle. I'm sure we could go ahead and get it.
Miles
Goose's kid is
yeah.
Goose and kid stash. Yeah, exactly. Miles stash.
I wonder if we passed what number we passed today. I've been like on this project the past like 3 days diving in. I wonder if we're at 600 or 700 million box office, which is just crazy to think about. So I appreciate y'all going out to the theaters.
Think about that, Danny. Like. You've wrapped up, right? As I know, you've been finished for 3 years or so, right? But it's the largest movie in the world. It's one of the largest movies ever. It's Tom Cruise's largest producing movie of all time. Tom Cruise of all time, and you're like a vital factor character in this phenomenon. Like it's for us, it's wild. I can't even imagine what it's like for you.
I think it feels good that the whole world is like, it feels like they caught up because we knew what we had, right? From the first day we stepped on set, we were like, this is iconic. Usually you feel the iconic label on it years after it's come out, after you've seen the cultural ripples. But the moment I stepped on there, I was like, oh my God, that's Miles Teller, that's Tom Cruise, that's John. And just knowing that what we were doing was already special. And then the moment we sat in that F-18, it was like, oh, fuck, no one's ever done this. no one's ever.
Well, that's
Sorry,
what I want to
curse
ask
on
you.
this?
Yeah.
I don't know if I could curse on this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There's no CGI in this
Okay.
movie, people. So talk to us about sitting in an F-15 or F-35, whatever you were in.
It's an 18.
And sitting in the back seat and take us through that experience. Because apparently you're afraid to fly.
I was afraid. Now I'm addicted, man. It was one of those things. I realized, I found out. So I went on Kimmel and I kind of talked a little bit about it. But it was, as a little kid, I was a daredevil. Like, I was crazy. I would just jump out of things and like go into the bush and just grab animals and come back out, and as if it was nothing. And then after a certain point, I think once you realize, you learn about mortality, you're like, you know what? Maybe some of these things I shouldn't do. But there was a time that I jumped out of a second-story building, like as a little kid, thinking I could fly, and I basically was just found unconscious on the ground by. I was in Mexico. This tortilla lady that was like selling door to door found me.
You thought you could fly?
Wow.
I told my grandma to tie these wings onto me, like not even a cape. I was like, I'm gonna go with aerodynamics. I'm gonna go with what creates lift.
Not even a cape.
It was two like Hot Wheels tracks, like the straightaways, and she just tied them on my arms, thinking I was gonna run around in the backyard like this. And little did she know that I was going to jump out of the second story. And so I think that's what made me a little bit more afraid of flying, because at that point I had failed. And so I used to have to get a little tipsy, not be able to like hear the engine tremble when I was on a commercial flight. So by the time that we started the training, we did a little Cessna, which is a single propeller plane, and did a couple 5 or 6 hours of that just to feel what it's like to take off and land on a smaller aircraft. Then we went to the Extra 300, which is a stunt plane, which is effectively, it does all types of wild shit. Like this with my phone, you're able to go, and then he turns off the engine, and then you're able to just plummet. He turns it back on mid-plummet, and is able to pull some G's out of that. And then the most we did on that was I think 28 G pulls in one flight. Monica did 56. So her brain was scrambled. And by the time that we got comfortable in that, we did maintenance flights throughout the next phase, which was then the jet phase. So we went to the L-39, flew with the Patriots team, which they do also a lot of wingman formation flying. And from then December, I think 20th or something like that was my first flight in the F-18. And man, it was crazy. It was, but it was one of those things that we didn't know how good our preparation was until you actually do it. You don't know how you're practicing until you have an opponent. And so I flew this guy named Ox on my first flight. Big ass dude, thick neck, just brolic shoulders. Also a mathematician. Like all these guys are geniuses. So he's like, all right, I'm gonna take up an actor in the backseat of this thing. Like he's probably gonna pass out. I'm gonna make him puke. And so we're like an hour into flying. We warmed up a little bit, and then we're pulling 6Gs, 7Gs, 6Gs sustained, and he's just doing all types of like really intense maneuvers as though he was in a dogfight. And then he gets on the comms and he's like, hey, how you doing back there, bud? Thinking that I was gonna be maybe passed out or feeling sick. And then he's like, you had the most chipper voice. You're like, I'm all good. What's up, man? This is sick. And then he's like, my chipper voice basically made him like question how he felt about the flight. He's like, oh my God, because I feel beat up, and we have this kid in the back that like feels like he's in a Disney ride.
I'm an 01 Hurricane, bitch.
Greatest team ever fucking assembled. What's up?
You can't scare me. 6 or 7 G's.
But, so by the end of that, like they were like, the training program you guys did is, in the amount of time we did it, they walked away with respect, and I think that's what also helped make this movie. We were hand in hand with the Navy and with the real aviators that put their life on the line. So it was, you don't want someone to try to portray you that you don't have the utmost respect for, or respect in regards to like the blood, sweat, and tears they've put into it. So I think I felt good after that when he was just like, all right, you guys can hang. So then by the time that we started filming, it was, there was no babying the route, like, so if this was the route that we had to do to get the shot, and these were the amount of G's we had to look to make it look dynamic enough, they knew that we could hang in there. And if we were to puke, like I did twice, other people did it. Other people did every flight, other people did every couple, some only did once. But yeah, it was this thing that like you felt good that no one was gonna like baby it just because there's actors in the back. But yeah, it was nuts, man. It's doing a Tom Cruise movie. You have to do it for real and then like put some face in there.
You know, I think going back on it, if you had asked you how you doing back there, and you just simply said, "I'm hurt, dog." Don't ask me if I'm all right. Joaquin said, "Dominate. We ain't doing it, dog." I'm hurt, dog. I mean, 'cause, come on, man. You just puked twice.
Yeah.
I'm hurt, dog.
All right, you got to do it one more time.
I'm gonna pepper that into projects I do, because I always try to put like little tidbits here and there. Like a project that I'm doing in the coming future, I'm trying to get a retro Canes jersey to get clear, like a Nike jersey. So it's gonna be tricky to get it cleared for it to be on the show. But I was just like, if I could ever, like small little tidbits of character.
That's not hard.
Yeah,
That's not hard. We can make that
He said he wanted to get it cleared.
Cleared
By who?
Because I think because it's it has to be Adidas now, so I can't go with the 01 cleared jersey unless they take off the Nike tag. I don't know. That's what I'm expecting.
I don't know about that. We got.
That's still one of the cleanest jerseys of all time. Those
I
01
showed it to someone that's just in fashion and like that. All they do is costumes, and they were like, they literally screenshotted it right away. They're like, "This is beautiful." She's like, I don't know what team it is, but this is the green. This green, and then she writes it down, and she literally screenshots it, and she saves it on her desktop. And I'm like, all right, she knows quality.
Yeah.
There
you go. Friends. Speaking of quality, to kind of take you on this side of the street, they make the hire, right? Mario, now you're hearing about Alonso coming back. You got the #1 AD. Talk to us about as a fan. I mean, like, where are you at right now?
I think it's taken me a while to adapt to, like, I think most of us didn't know the drop-off, or some of us did. I didn't. The drop-off of the amount that's invested into programs. I knew the amount of, like, how much Clemson's football facilities were worth, right? But I didn't know how much yearly input they had. So I think in the beginning, when they were talking about the Manny Diaz firing Manny Diaz, I was kind of like, he is turning the corner. There's some momentum. So, but I didn't realize like what a name like Mario would bring in regards to the rest of the program and how it's completely shifted everything. So at first it was like, if you're talking about like individual people, obviously Mario's is like far more proven and is someone that like commands the space. I've like the way that even recruits have been around him or him in all the videos, I'm like, oh, that's a leader and a half.
They call him Tom Cruise.
Hey, Tom Cruise.
Yeah,
Tom Cruise of college football.
Yeah.
It's literally I accidentally credited Tom Cruise with the Mario Cristobal statement the other day on the press junket.
Of course you did.
I was like, the way you do something is how you do everything. And I'm like, and Tom Cruise said that, and I was like, oh my God, no, wait. I was like, that's Mario Cristobal. Legit.
No, Mario.
That's on an interview somewhere, on some red carpet, and I was like,
Tom Cruise said, "Show me the money."
Yeah,
that's what Tom Cruise.
Well, no. Through filming, Tom was always about like it's the attention to the details. He's like, not to bring it back. I think to bring it back to both, a connective thing is like as fans and as audiences. In both being a Canes fan and being an audience member, when you go watch a film, when you go see your favorite team play, when you invest this much hours and your time into the thing you love, there is a responsibility, I think, for everyone involved on the creating of the project and on the team and in the university to the amount of time and to the love being poured into by everyone. So Tom would always say, like, every single year he has one chance to get everyone's attention in the world for 2 hours, right? So every year you go watch a Mission Impossible, you go watch a Top Gun, you go watch War of the Worlds, not War of the Worlds, War of the Worlds.
Yeah, that was
right.
It. Yep.
Yeah, and he's like, every ticket is like $10 to $15. A family of four, $60 to go to the theaters plus popcorn, plus the 2 hours per person that you're taking. So. And then you multiply that by millions. And he's like, every single time I film, I consider that, and like whenever it comes to putting more effort in, and when you're tired or you have to make sure that you get it right, it's with that in the back of your mind. And I think as spoiled as we are of a fan base in regards to like being a part of some of the greatest teams of all times, it's remembering like what it takes to get there and the mentality that it takes to get there, and being around Tom and seeing the little wrinkles every single day that he'd add into the story, or moments that he'd be like, it can't, like, that's great, but it's got to be better. And that, like, in that settling or being complacent, I think Mario right off the bat, because he hasn't necessarily shit on the past 10 years. He just said it's unacceptable. And there's like, you can't just walk away from Green Tree thinking like that was a good practice. And a lot of the times, like in like positive reinforcement culture, which for some is really good, but for others, like, it doesn't compete with the Alabamas and the Clemsons, and because they're
so true.
Yeah, it's iron sharpens iron, and Mario is like, it feels like maybe 10 years have passed. The culture is already so different. The air is different. Him putting together the staff he putting together is just like that. It feels like a Top Gun Maverick staff. It's like everyone's the best at what they do, and I'm fucking excited.
Yeah, who isn't?
Right? I'm hyped.
I mean, so current. Well, you got so current roster. I've got all kinds of questions. Current roster. Who's your favorite player?
My favorite player? All right. This is. I hope I don't piss anybody off.
Oh no,
I won't piss anybody off with this. I mean, Jalen Knight, man.
You like the Rooster, huh?
Right, the Rooster.
Yeah. The Rooster. There's like, you could just. I mean, the way someone moves, you could tell within moments like that person's special. The way, like,
how many G's is he pulling? Right, like he's 6 G's every time he gets the head out.
At a cut. Are you kidding me? That's pulling his fat G's, man. That's And then I think, obviously, James Williams is. I'm so excited for what he's about to do this year. I think across the board. I mean, I can see the depth conversations about the roster, but overall, I'm excited for every position, even the linebacker position. Charlie Strong. I really believe that I don't know. I don't want to say anything on record.
He's a former head coach. He's a former head coach. Yeah,
he's phenomenal.
Coach.
I don't
coaching linebackers.
Yeah, and like Gilbert and Keontra, I think like they're exceptional talents. And I think like I'm just excited to see this like Kevin Steele defense. And like I watched like 4 Auburn games on YouTube of when he was the defensive coordinator, and I got so hyped, man.
Yeah.
At what point?
I imagine just, huh?
I was going to say, at what point do you think it's acceptable for us to ask you to be the 4th member of this show?
At what point? I don't know, man.
He knows as much as we do. This guy knows everything.
I'll check my
When he talked about the linebacker position, even the linebacker position, I'm like, he knows.
He knows.
Yeah, he knows.
But I'm hyped on it, man. I genuinely think that like it's with a slightly different system, same personnel on the field for the most part, but I just think that it's just. Yeah, the responsibility is going to switch slightly, and it's going to play better to our hands. I hope so. I think that there's the effort put in by them is probably they have the most pressure on the team, to keep their job and to I think sometimes we think that they don't give it their all, and I think everyone has their connection to their dream of making it to the league, and that unit I hope is going to be the best turned around.
Yeah, because that's the one where the spotlight's going to focus on, right, Danny?
Yeah.
Because obviously we feel good with the secondary. You mentioned a lot of names, Gilbert Frierson. You talked about James Williams. You talked about some of these guys. We got a transfer coming in TPJ. Terry Porter Jr. is going to come in. And,
I follow him.
That's
follow
somebody
on
else.
Instagram, bro. That's,
He's what's up. Yeah, we've known Dad for a long time. We got some stories about Dad. Dad and Grandma. I mean, Grandma and Ye. I mean, like, we'll tell you some stories about there. And then reality is that you got bolstered along the defensive line too. You got Messidor coming in from West Virginia, brought Big Litch coming in from USC. You got somebody from Maryland, so you bolstered that defensive line. It's the linebacker position for me is where it's is the unsettling phase right now because we didn't get that splash
Johnson
name in the
from
portal.
UCLA.
Caleb. I mean, exactly. So you have some names there. It's just going to be the ultimate question mark. I feel good on the offensive side of the ball, like you talked about, Jalen. Bro, citizens, the truth too. Now
I don't want to start talking about them yet to put pressure on the top four because I don't want anybody to transfer. So I'm like, let me not hype up.
Don't. Nobody listens to this anyway.
Let me not turn that heat on yet. But I think genuinely, like, I can't imagine stepping into that running backs room and not feeling like you gotta bust your ass every day because to the right, to the left of you, in front of you, it's like you got like ballers, yo. So, but I think Manny's system put too much pressure on the linebackers to like basically like, and then the safeties too, to try to like go out there and erase mistakes
and miss tackles.
It's just everything was downfield and it was like, yeah, man. Gervin Hall, I think also a baller, man, but just like within like how he fit into the scheme was just. And then obviously, the moment you get on video nationally on that, I think. Yeah. I hope he does well at Utah, man. It's Utah, right?
Yeah, that was a.
You know what's so funny?
Yeah, man.
You know what was funny? We actually did a Top Gun reference when that happened from the original because when he made that play, we're like, where'd who go? Like we literally said a Top Gun reference. That's how long we've been culturally identifying.
I think he's gonna ball out, bro. I'm saying.
I think he's gonna be at Utah.
Man. I think he's dope, but But yeah, I think across
the bartender now.
It's just,
He's with the bartender now.
That's right.
They got a little reunion with Banda, so he's gonna be all right.
That's true.
So we have a question from the unofficial fourth member from previous that I want to read to you. He's a huge fan of the show, huge fan of you. It says, if you could magically trade the experience of acting alongside Tom Cruise as Fanboy in a summer blockbuster for being Ken Dorsey's slot receiver in the 2001 National Championship game, would you do it?
2001, who's a slot receiver? It wasn't Santana.
It doesn't matter. It would be you. It would be you.
No, but I'm thinking about like how many who caught anything. It was Andre.
He's looking at variables now.
Yeah, I'm looking at
Andre. He's looking at catches.
Is Ken going to put some shots? It was Ken and Andre and Willis McGahee and Clinton. Was Clinton? No, yeah. Clinton's on the squad. Najee Davenport.
Yeah, look, I don't think a slot receiver caught a ball, so I'm not necessarily sure that it's a direct
So just make it Andre Johnson. You could be Andre Johnson.
Okay, you could be Andre.
Why is he got to make him the slot receiver?
I don't know, because he played slot. He was a slot receiver.
I played slot in Coral Park. I played slot and corner. We went 0-10 my junior year and then 5-5 my senior year. Who else? Yeah, LaMarcus Joyner was at Southwest. The year before, Denzel Perryman, we played against him in Coral Gables.
The president.
Yo, wow, man! I remember he I cracked back the shit out of him during one of our tosses, and then he literally then looks at me and I'm like, oh, I'm fucked. They threw me a slant that he tipped, and he was about to he tipped it and was about to intercept it, but he laid out flat. And as he laid out flat, he pounced on the ground and popped right back up. And at that point, I'm like, I've never seen that much power in a human being in my whole life. And I was like, that Denzel hitting me clean would have been a nightmare, man. Would have been death.
He'd have knocked you out of the movie industry.
No, exactly. So at that point, I wasn't even acting, so I would have never known.
I would have acted right there. Yeah. I would have acted dead. I would have just laid there next to him. I'm out.
Did you have any really scary aspects or scary incidents?
Didn't you almost drown?
Training or filming or anything?
Drown, yeah. So you guys saw one. Scary is in regards to the plane. I think it was just crazy to be. So everything you saw in the movie. And all the even the exterior shots when the camera's outside and you're seeing the jet fly through the mountains, we all did that inside. So whenever you saw the jet tip over the mountain and go inverted before the pop, all of that was us in there.
You did that move?
Yeah, every single move in there we did. So because they didn't know when they were going to cross cut between being inside and outside. So sometimes they would go pick it up without us in there after we shot it. But every single maneuver was all game planned out, and we knew exactly at what part of the mountain we were going to be pulling what G's to then pop up and then go inverted. So that was thoroughly detailed. But as far as danger, I think so. Before being allowed on a Navy aircraft, you have to pass a helo dunker and like swim certificate, just in case you eject over the ocean or your helo goes down. So essentially, you do a couple like smaller exercises with all your gear on, but then you get dunked. You get put in this like simulated helicopter that gets dunked in a pool, and then rotated upside down while you're still harnessed. And I'd passed my test. You got to do it 3 times and exit the right way. And on my 4th time, I jumped in there to try to help my buddy Tarzan out. So me and Glenn Powell, we were like, for morale, let's jump back in there just so he doesn't pass it by himself and he has somebody to work off of. And when I got in there, my seatbelt that time wasn't opening. So it was jammed. And I kept trying to like twist the harness to unlock. And Glenn was just looking at me and he didn't know what was happening. He thought I was just sitting in the chair. And then after a certain point, he just books. He just leaves. And literally this harness isn't opening and I'm trying to like unjam it. And I'm so close to just being like, all right, here comes the water. Like I was just gonna like, and then hope for them to find me. But I forgot, if I did this sign, a scuba team would jump in there and take me out. But I totally forgot it in the middle of the whole panic. And so I tried one more time, 2 of them unlatch, and then I like wriggle myself free, pop open the window, breach for air. And I was like, that is the closest to drowning I ever was, because I was maybe 4 seconds away from saying like,
I am going to throw up.
They'll bring me back.
Oh my God.
I'm still going back to the part where you're like never supposed to leave your wingman. He just took off.
Yeah, right. Like where'd he go?
Stay right here.
So once I breached and took some air, I was like, "What the fuck, everyone?" Like I was down there drowning. You couldn't see. And there was like 4 GoPros always recording, and for them to see on flat screens above. And they're like, "Oh, dude, we thought you were just hanging out down there. You look so calm and composed."
Yeah, hanging out.
And like they literally your facial expressions was like pure calm. So we thought like you were just like had a good breath in you, and like yeah, they didn't realize that I wasn't like panicking or anything. I think I was also like conscious of the cameras. So I'm like,
And that's when you tell him again, Danny, you know what I was saying underwater? I'm hurt, dog. Don't ask me if I'm all right. Joaquin said dominate, and we ain't doing it.
That is, man.
Oh, my goodness. That's a tough story.
That whole story. Hey,
I should have brought that up in the middle of like one of the in the hard deck or honestly in the mission room. It would have been a good little speech to give.
So now let me ask you a question.
Would have been.
The first movie, and everyone made a big deal about this, there was an iconic scene that my life still talks about with the volleyball. Obviously, in this one, you guys did a little change. You did the beach football. I know that there were stories back in 80, whatever, that all the actors were having competitions to make sure they looked good without a shirt on. Was it the same thing with all the young guns in this one as well?
Well, it was a little bit of like, we had this guy named Jack who was basically the one that led us into our diet. And he basically protein paste. He gave us everything. So obviously Miles had his personal trainer and Glenn had his personal trainer. I was like, I ain't got that type of money yet. So I was just, it was also the first time in my whole life that like for lunch, even when we weren't filming flight scenes or anything, we'd have our pick of like steak or lobster. And like the whole crew and cast was eating like gourmet stuff. So I was like, I love free shit and I love great shit. And so when it's free and great, I'm pounding everything down. So actually I got a little like more like my traps and shoulders a little bit bigger than I was defined. So I felt like I could play right now. I was like, so it was, so we weren't necessarily competing through the whole time, but at the gym, you'd see someone like go for it and then you look at them and then you just do a couple more sets and a couple more reps and you make sure that like they leave the gym before you do. And then maybe if that was just me, I'm sick. If I'm the only one that was like, oh, you got here 10 minutes after I got here, but I'm still gonna leave after. But yeah, it was. I think everyone was just like it was family, So everyone was giving each other tips. Everyone was helping each other like push over the edge whenever they were down and out. And then by the time that we got to the football scene, we had the stunt coordinator, but then we had Matt Moore. Quarterback of the Dolphins,
in Carolina.
Dolphins,
years ago. Yeah,
Detroit.
I'm not a Kane fan. I'm not a Kane fan. Sorry about that. I'm born in Chicago, so I am a Bears fan. So it's been tough. But yeah, Matt Moore basically said I had the best arm from everyone, and a lot of A lot of the ropes you see, there's a couple sketchy throws, but a lot of the ropes you see are me throwing.
There you go. That's right.
He's throwing some TV dimes.
From the bomb to Bob, I don't want to spoil anything, but that was like clean 50 in the air.
Uh-huh.
He caught it. I don't even know what version they shot of it.
Did they edit any of your aerial throws and make it seem like Tom was the one that threw it?
No, because I was throwing the other way. So I think those were Tom. The other, there's some edits now, unless they flipped it.
Right.
But
They could.
yeah, but there was some.
Tom was sitting down.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
not giving away the movie. Too.
Yeah, by
He
that.
was
No, he was sitting down at that point. By the time that Bob got the bomb, but it was I forgot who they replaced my throw with, but yeah, it's in there.
And obviously, the first go around, hanging with the boys, like literally. I thought the song choice for this one, obviously, I thought it fit really well. I heard it prior coming into the movie, and then when I saw it in relationship to the scene and you guys like getting after it and ladies getting after it, I thought it was a perfect mesh. So I think they did a really good job in terms of the music choice on that too.
Yeah, I think there was a different song when we saw it for the first time.
Yeah,
it might have been
hanging with the boys.
Wait, you saw
hanging with the boys?
No,
he's no. I'm just kidding.
Can't
I'm
believe
kidding.
this guy in it.
Yeah.
Oh, I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I was like, what? Because I forgot what
Exactly,
song it was
no.
that when we saw it during the pandemic, Tom made a little screening for us to like as a morale booster, and
Nice.
and it was 12 of us just in the theater with our masks, just checking it out, and it was just. I forgot
Different
what song it was. Yeah, it was a different vibe, and I'm glad they changed it to.
Do you have your aviator helmet with you that you could put on so we could see
Fanboy
across the front?
That's worth so much now. Paramount's like, yo, this is worth more than whatever we paid them. So I think those are collectibles.
Oh, that's true.
Some billionaire somewhere is going to own the set of them.
Right.
Yeah, no, I wish I did.
You can't even get one. Huh?
There you go.
Oh, we'll
Right.
get John
Yeah.
Ruiz. We'll get John Ruiz on the phone. He'll buy
Yeah,
yours.
if he wants. I mean, he apparently loves Top Gun. It was his favorite movie, and then this was better than that one. So, John's a fan. So
and you're getting that a lot now.
Huh?
Now think about that statement. No, think about that statement, Danny. And it is so true because when I walked away from that, usually you could be hypercritical as a fan and somebody who watched that years ago. But it is so true, and you keep hearing that sentiment. It was better than the original. It was better than the original. I walked away from it, and I legitimately said in my head, there is not one thing in the movie that they missed. Everything that they needed to nail, it was like a routine, a floor routine from a gymnast at the Olympics. And in order to get a perfect 10, you had to hit every single step. That movie hit every single step, including yourself. It was such a great movie. Great movie. Like I said, my kid, he's like, that's my favorite movie, Dad. 10 out of 10. And I was like, good for you, son. Because I remember as a kid watching it like his age, watching the original. And then to fast forward and to see it. And like I said, he's been like, hey, Dad, play that Danger Zone song again. So I'm like literally in a car playing Danger Zone.
Yeah.
I'm about to get a speeding ass ticket because I keep when that song comes in.
And then that's the tough.
Yeah.
But I think going back to like why I think it works so well, and it spoiled us for sure because now that whenever we do a movie that's not going to be perfect or like something that you could die by, you're gonna tell when the journalist is like doesn't have that spark in his eye, and I'm gonna be like, oh, he hates it. But on this, it's like realizing that like a 3-minute flight sequence on screen took months of preparation. It's like, and it goes back to the extra mile that you have to go to, and how you do something is how you do everything, and the same way that we did like for those 3-minute flight sequences or 4 minutes or even less sometimes. The amount of preparation in every facet of the movie and the attention to detail of everything. And it's like an expensive ass German watch. Every gear was perfectly fit. And if one thing was off, it shakes everything else. And that was something that we're going to take into every other project we do in the future, everything that we're a part of. I've already seen it in moments of like, I've done stuff where people are complacent in their position in storytelling. And it makes for weaker things. So I think it's giving me not only it's giving permission to like ask for better while filming something of being like we're better, like we could do better than this. And not just because sometimes you're constrained based on finances, and that's a different conversation. But I think when it comes down to seeing people half-ass or not give it their all, it's like there's too much responsibility and too many people's time is being put into viewing it that we can't just put out content for the sake of content. I think that's where it's the tricky part, that people are like, let me just do something. And that's why you're seeing a lot of shows that some parts of it are weaker than others because people are on the speed rush of getting it out there without the quality.
Yeah, I think that kind of parlays on what you had said. What you had said, you're going to be, you want to produce one day, and you think you're getting closer and closer. And having this experience on this set with this cast then provides you with something that maybe a lot of other people that you're now working with haven't either seen, been able to experience. And do they take it well? Maybe people with more experience than you, or do they take it unwell? Like, well, wait a minute, you haven't been doing this that long, but you're like, yeah, but I've seen it.
Yeah, I think it's. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Danny. No, because I was just going to say, he's Mario Cristobal here. He's on the 01 championship Miami Hurricane teams. He's on the cast of Top Gun Maverick. It's the same equivalency here. That was a perfect 10. The 2001 championship was a perfect 10. And all those guys have a seat at the table. Why? Because they were on the 01 Canes. They know what it's supposed to look like. And that's what Danny was talking about, just like Mario. When he comes back 10 years later, 15 years, I know what greatness looks like now. I was part of it. So, yeah, great question.
I think
ahead, Danny.
It depends because and what you realize, like anyone that is exceptional at what they do also has a hyper flexible room for collaboration. I think there's sometimes a misnomer when you think of an alpha. You think of someone that like is so set in their ways that they're not taking in information. You think of Nick Saban. Nick Saban brings in a plethora of brilliant football analysts, and he doesn't bring them just so he could like take their analytics and then run. He brings them because it's open conversation as to how they should approach week to week. And I think with Tom, with anyone that I've worked with that is great, they're always learning, they're curious, they're still students of the game. And so times that people have felt threatened are the times that people they don't have the juice in the first place, and it only sometimes exposes them. And so there's been times that like, because I've now done 30 or 29, 28 projects. A lot of them in the beginning were like 5 lines, a scene here, a guest star. But I have a lot more projects coming out now in the next year or so. And in those, some of the stuff was disregarded. And then you see some versions of it and you're like, and some of it is like validating because I'm like, oh, those are the exact 4 things that I mentioned a month before we started this thing. And now it's out and now it's being reviewed in these different ways. So that's kind of felt validating in regards to like my connection to the work. And not so much like I'm right, you're wrong, but like, okay, I'm onto something. I know that like based on my take, something in the future is I have that gauge to story. And for the most part, I think some of the best work, like the best projects I've done, the leaders of those projects have been extremely collaborative and know that an experience like that has been valuable and will be valuable in. And there's a project I did, whether it came out or not, or whether it will come out or not, or if it's in history or not. There was a moment that something directly Top Gun related came into the conversation without me referencing Top Gun, but it was. They told me, well, we were doing a walk and talk scene, and we were doing it down the street, and then the plan was to walk back the other way. And the sun was at our 3 o'clock. And I was like, well, when we walk back the other way, we're going to be directly contradictory lit by the sun. And so when you cross-cut between both of us, you're going to be like, is there 2 suns in this universe? Like, what is it? Like, how are they both clearly lit by the sun in one direction? I brought that up. The cinematographer was like, no, it doesn't matter. Like, let's just go. Let's get this done. And in Top Gun, the big thing that we did when we were lining the shots and composing them from the jet, since we had direct conversations with the director, was that we had to, and the cinematographer, was that we had to make sure that they could edit between me in the back seat and Payback in the front seat and make it feel like we're literally in the same plane. Because if they didn't, it would be like, oh, they're shooting that on 2 different days. We don't suspend disbelief, and it takes us out of it. So little things like that, like Claudio made sure that like if we're doing, depending on the angle in which from the mountain that we're going, the sun position is set and we know where it is, and no matter where in the mountain you're going, it's lit in that way through just technically doing your homework and knowing where you place yourself, or at what time of the day you have to go out, or where the other jet has to be. And so when going back to the walk and talk and this other thing, it was one of those things that I'm like, wow, this is. I know I'm right in this moment, but I'm going to let this person have it their way. They think that an actor's trying to teach them how to do their job. And then as I saw it, it was exactly what I thought it was. And you're instantly like, that's fucking wrong. And so, it's so clear, but it's those moments that it's like, oh, that's where you see people's ego get in the way, and people like are set in their ways. And or maybe he knew and he was like, it takes too long and I don't want to put that much effort. Let's just do it. So it's a blessing and a curse, because then you obviously at that point, paying attention to detail, see all the detail that's looked over or glossed over.
All right, so Dan, let me ask you this, and thank you so much for giving us so much time in the middle of your press junkets and everything.
For sure. I might have to run in like 7 minutes.
Let's talk about the 2022 Hurricanes. What are your expectations? It's the first year of Mario. We've all been talking about it. Is it coastal or bust? Is it ACC or bust? What is your expectation? What is a successful season for you? What is a disappointing season for you?
Disappointing could be a conversation outside of record, right? If they go 10-2 and the last 2 games are games they lost, disappointing. So I think, from what I want to take from a cultural standpoint, I think it's the feeling of it's a different team that has that our defense is feared. I think more than anything when I think it was Antro Roll talking about what it was like being a Cane during that time, was like no one wanted to play you. They knew that you were going to get smacked in the mouth and that it was going to hurt and that every single down was going to hurt. So I think instilling culture would feel like a win. But then in regards to record, I would be happy with 10. I would be but at the end of the day, hopeful with 9. But I am going 11-1 because one of the 2 games is an upset call. We always talk about like what's realistic, but I think out of 2 games that teams are a little bit more established, one of those I'd like to be an upset. So I don't know if we're going to get it with Texas A&M. I want them to smack the shit out of Texas A&M. But I think just the seasonal, the progression of the season, we have a tighter team by the Clemson game. And at that point, I don't know. I think 11-1, and I'm hopeful. I'm a very hopeful guy.
You like that?
And
we can always hope for 11 wins.
On a different day, I might have woken up and said 12-0.
Is it raining in Spain?
Chaos happens. I always think about that 2009 season that was like 8 number 2 teams lost in back-to-back weeks? Or what was it? Like that? Yeah. Whatever that was, you never know when that strikes. And with how much college football has moved around with NIL deals and just the roster is different. There's a different pulse to it, just like adding 12 people. Kevin Steele and like in Auburn, what he did was like he'd rotate entire lines out. So when I started seeing him like get 5 new defensive line like transfers or 4, I was just like, we're gonna see a little bit more Kevin Steele defense right away than we expect. So I'd say 11-1 is what I would bet in Las Vegas. I'd put $20 in Las Vegas. 10-2, I'd put maybe 150, and 9-3.
Not betting on that. Yeah, no, don't bet on that.
No, don't bet on it.
Because you don't want it.
Because you don't want it. You don't want it.
I wouldn't bet on it.
You don't want it.
I don't want it. It feels like a lot.
That's right.
Sure, I have money, but I don't want it.
I feel like we need to have a watch party with Danny here at some point when he's back in town, back in Miami.
I'll be at a couple games.
Okay.
I'll be at a couple games, I hope.
Well, there we go. There we go.
We got season tickets. We'll be there on my birthday,
Nice.
so A&M games
going there?
Hey, we'll have to remember that.
I'm
I
not
might
going
go to College Station.
I'm not going to College Station.
Yeah.
Get the cowbells out of your ear.
I'll
home
try
games for sure. So, a couple quick questions before we let you go, Danny. We can't thank you enough, man. This is
for sure, man.
like our 2 favorite things in the world: Miami Hurricanes football and Top Gun. I mean, honestly, you can't. There isn't much better. Number 1, I want to know if you've had a haircut since you stopped filming Top Gun.
Oh, yeah.
You look a
Yeah,
different.
that's not Air Force
no,
approved.
yeah,
right.
Or Navy approved.
I have a full. It's probably up. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So no, I haven't. I have had one haircut for when I did Falcon and Winter Soldier. And that was it.
See.
But other than that,
And secondly, we'll leave you on this. You got Tom Cruise's number? Can we give him a shot?
oh, dude, we text all the time. He's genuine.
He's a Canes fan, right?
Well, I actually saw. This is where it kind of broke my heart. For the Rose Bowl, he did a surprise visit to the Ohio State marching band.
Don't
OH.
do that.
No.
Yeah, and so when
Not
I went to
today.
the Rose Bowl, I got invited to a BTS concert. If you guys know the boy band, I got invited to that by two friends of mine, and I was like, I've never really been to a concert, let alone the boy band concert. But they told me that it was at the Rose Bowl, and this was like 3 years ago. And then I just had flashbacks of Ohio State and Miami, and so I was like, no, I got to go back and reclaim it. So I went to that BTS concert with my Canes jersey on. And then stood in front of the Rose Bowl sign and just threw up the U. And then basically just went on a rant about how like our championship was stolen. And then I went to the concert. I pretended that I was like running out into the field because I had the floor seats, so I was on that sacred / haunted ground.
So good.
It's incredible, though.
And my third grade teacher was a Hurricanes cheerleader. And she'd bring over Jeremy Shockey came to class, Philip Buchanan.
Get out of here.
Who else? We had that secondary was on fire. So I think half of that secondary went. It was nuts, man. So she was the captain of the cheerleading squad the year before.
That's not a bad third grade cheerleader. Or third grade teacher.
Danny
whatever she
Ramirez,
was.
listen, man, thank you so much for giving us time.
It's
I mean,
Fanboy.
you are now absolutely part of the OBB
Holy
fam.
hell,
Thank
bro.
you so much for reaching out. Continued success with all your projects that are still coming out. We can't wait to see what you have coming up next, and hopefully you'll come back on sometime in the next year or so.
For sure, man. I hope so, man. Thank you guys for having me. Go Canes. Let's win it all again.
There you go.
I'm so excited.
Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah. So that was fun.
I can't.
That just happened.
That just
It
happened.
just happened.
And you know what's the coolest thing too? Because
God almighty.
we got word of this as I took my family to the movie to see it, and it was like the coolest thing as a dad. Because then my kids are like, "Dad, that's him, right?" I'm like, "Yes, that's the guy, Fanboy." He's like, "He's going to come on your show." Mom, that's the guy that's coming on Dad's show. And then I'm going to walk out. I'm like, He did it. Because we were playing back and forth. We let the OBB family in the Discord chat know that this was going to be a real possibility. And again, listen, y'all, hey, guys, the off season, the Canes content's just not there. This is what happens. The off season is when magic happens. It always happens. Look what just happened. Fanboy.
All right, we got to do 5 questions, but first we got to take a quick break and we got to pay some bills. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be coming back with 5 questions. What does it mean to be backed by Morse? It means you get the vehicle you want. And now, with new inventory arriving daily, getting the vehicle you want is easier than ever. Every Ed Morse lot is stocked, and if you can't find the vehicle you're looking for, the helpful Ed Morse team will track it down for you, or they'll be with you every step of the way to pre-order your new vehicle and customize it just the way you like it. When it came to their tagline, the Ed Morse Automotive Group could have said anything, but they went with backed by Morse. They want their customers to know that when they buy from Ed Morse, they are backed by Ed Morse. New vehicles are backed by Morse with a price protection promise, and all used vehicles are backed by Morse with thorough inspections and warranties. Even your service is backed by Morse with the price match guarantee. So make this year the year you get backed by Morse. Shop an amazing selection of vehicles, all backed by Morse. Find a location nearest you and go to edmorse.com today. But remember, you're only backed by Morse when you buy from Morse.
The OBBs are very proud to welcome LifeWallet to our family in 2022. This revolutionary technology is changing the game in the medical field. The LifeWallet app locates and structures your medical records in one secure location, so you can access them easily and efficiently. Currently, your medical records are inconveniently stored by healthcare providers across multiple platforms. The hurdle we as consumers face with the current structure is that these systems do not interconnect. The solution? LifeWallet facilitates the interconnectivity of your entire medical history, from birth to present day. Download the app today at either the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. LifeWallet. The time is now.
One thing the OBB fam adores is a quality beer. No one better to get it from than South Florida's own The Tank Brewing. Located at 5100 Northwest 72nd Avenue in Miami, they've got 25,000 square feet of liquid innovation happening, 16 taps, and a great kitchen. If you can't get down to the brewery for a pint or a tour, you can find their product on the shelves of your local Publix or Total Wine. So go grab a six-pack of Loca or La Playita or Frank the Tank and pop one open as you listen to an episode of the Orange Bowl Boys. The Tank Brewing, the official bar of the OBB.
Beating the bookie. How's he doing there, Scoopy?
Yeah, big week last week. Huge week last week in golf. I think he was up 18 plus units last week in the golf tournament. I know the Canadian Open is going on now. He's got a max play in it again. He won the max play last week in the tournament. And it's hockey. It's hockey. He had a few, I think he had a few losing days in the hockey playoffs, but now it's picking back up, ramping back up, and baseball has just been a consistent winning streak over the last couple months. Guys, you know what to do. You know what to do. You always know it. BeatingTheBookie.com is where you get your packages. At BeatingTheBookie for free plays on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok and everything else. Our boy, he's out in Maui. He's enjoying a little bit of vacation. And even on vacation, he's still sending out all his stuff, still keeping all of his clients happy. BeatingTheBookie.com. Go get your stuff, boys and girls.
And then if you're looking for a place to place those bets, just go ahead and download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use promo code TPPN. Make any $5 bet during the NBA Finals and get $150 in free bets instantly. That's promo code TPPN. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details.
And admit it. And you know what else you need to admit? That you have a Caneswear addiction. I do, because I'm looking at their homepage, the top line. You know it's getting close to football season because we have football merch on the top row. Miami Hurricanes Columbia PFG hat, $35. Ooh, and I really like this Miami Hurricanes Flow-Grown washed flag t-shirt in orange. That's for $30. All you need to do is probably purchase one more thing, because then you have over $100 in items, and then it's free shipping after that. Caneswear, 2511 South University Drive in Davie, Florida, 33324. You can call them at 954-835-5597. They are the fastest shipping in the West.
And last but certainly not least, our friends over at Manscaped, who have given us our very own promo code, OBB. And that gets you 20% off whatever you're ordering over there. So if you want to get some testicle deodorant, if you want to get some stuff for your head, you want to get some body wash, whatever you need, Father's Day stuff, not a problem. You go to manscaped.com, order whatever you want, tell the wife to order whatever she wants, and then use promo code OBB, and you will get 20% off, all courtesy of manscaped.com. And I'll tell you what, man, that I was looking at the Canes baseball game. Everyone down at Marklight, it was like 95 degrees outside, and I'm like, bro, every single guy in that crowd wishes they had the ball deodorant on right now, because, you know, in humidity, damage can be done.
And some of them did, because they used promo code OBB.
OBB.
Take your toast. Take your toast.
Take you, baby.
5 questions.
And if you want to hop in with any questions, because I'm kind of going by the seat of my pants here, feel free if you got one.
Okay, I got one. I got one.
What do you got?
If you had a call sign, what would your call sign be?
It's good. Yeah, I think it'll be toasted.
I was gonna say. I mean, toasted, I kind of have one. Yeah. I don't know.
I think
Scoop.
Scoop? Yeah, he's going to go with Scoop.
I mean, Because if I had a different one, I would have just named myself the other thing before.
Sure. Right.
No, mine's got to be a quarterback reference. I think it's got to be QB1.
There you go. I like
there
that.
you go.
I like that. I
Well,
like
there was the one guy in we didn't even. I forgot to ask him. Did we ever find out what Bob stands for?
No.
Son of a bitch.
But he caught a 50-yard touchdown from Danny.
Yes, he did. He did. In the air. Beautiful throw.
Yeah, beautiful throw.
Looked better than Tua out there.
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. What is something that 90% of the human population hate?
Ooh,
I would say at this
Taxes.
point, taxes is a good one. Politics is another one. I think people.
Hillary Clinton.
Hillary Clinton. There you go.
It was too easy.
Always got to be Scoop.
It was too easy.
Here we go. This is a good one. Here's a good one. All of humanity has been wiped out. You're the last person on Earth, and you're holding your phone. It rings. Who is it?
Say it again.
All of humanity has been wiped out.
Yeah.
You are the last person on Earth, and you're holding your phone, and it rings. Who is it?
I got the only answer. It's only one answer. Nobody else needs to answer because I know the answer to this.
Okay.
It is somebody calling you to extend your auto warranty.
That fucker calls every other day from a different number.
And just so you know, if any of you two are ever on the side of the road with a broken down car, do not call me. You had every chance in the world to extend your car warranty, and you didn't, assholes. So no, I'm not coming to help you.
It's insane, dude. That son of a bitch calls every day. Hey, it's Bob from the Vehicle Mortgage Warranty Center. Like, son of a bitch. Oh, boy. All right, we need to do... You got one for a Scoop?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, sure.
No, I'm busy doing something.
All right.
I think we just keep it along these lines, too. But, Toast, Scoop, what's a movie you watched as a child, but you appreciate more when you got older?
Oh, I appreciated it more when I got older.
So watched it as a child, and then you appreciate it more when you got older.
Blues Brothers.
There you go.
Yeah, maybe like Animal House.
The Nutty Professor.
Dr. Doolittle. The Clumps.
You know what? And I'm not trying to get sentimental because he was just on, but the original Top Gun. Because you watch that movie as a kid, and I think now because they just were so in tune to the original and they do it, it's the tandem of them both. And it's like almost an extension of that one original. I'm in much of a more fond appreciation of that because we just needed a good old-fashioned movie. It was just something that was needed. Just go out, disconnect, go have fun, because that's when movies, to me, in personal opinion, is when they're at their best, when you could go and you go there to disconnect from reality, not to get immersed in it. And I just thought it was a fantastic movie. But that original Top Gun, and seeing that, because of course the kids came home and were like, I want to watch that original Top Gun. I was like, oh, yeah, absolutely, let's watch it.
Sure. All right, here's one. What historical event would you have liked to have witnessed or taken part in?
Historical event.
Woodstock.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Taking part in it, obviously.
Taking part in it, obviously, absolutely. Yeah. You probably would have taken the brown acid, too.
Bunch of hippies
Gotten
running
up to
around
20.
naked. Look at all these hippie farmers.
$20.
That's a good one, Woodstock. That had to be a smelly experience, all the
Oh,
body
my
odor.
goodness.
Oh,
There was no
God.
porta potties.
No porta potties. Just,
Yeah,
Oof.
yeah, it's gross.
I'll be honest. I don't know if this is how historical it is, but would have loved to have been in the stadium in 2004 in St. Louis when the Red Sox won the World Series for the first time in 86 years.
That's a good idea. Yeah, that's a good one.
Was it Jimmy Fallon got to run in the field with Drew Barrymore because they were filming that movie?
That's right.
Yeah. So yeah, that would have been mine.
You kind of stole my sports thunder, but I was thinking the 1983 national championship for the University of Miami, just to see the first one.
Yeah,
Just to see the first one.
absolutely.
I think that was 5. That was a quick.
Was that 5 or was that 4?
That was 5.
That was 5. All right.
Even
Very
if it was
nice.
4, it's 5.
Whatever. We came to the table with stuff today. We came to the stuff. Thanks to Danny Ramirez for coming on. That was absolutely awesome. Great job, Scoop, booking that. Great job.
Incredible.
So good. So good. If you haven't seen the movie, you got to go see the movie. You're going to love it. You're going to love it.
Best part is he was so, first of all, he knows his shit. Mm-hmm. That's the first part about Canes football. Like, you can talk about, he's the fourth. We can literally talk to him all day about Canes football.
Don't call him the fourth. You're going to upset Loans.
And not have an issue. I didn't finish the sentence. I just did fourth something. And he was himself. He cursed. Mm-hmm. He was honest. He told us great stories. He told me the story about him in the buckle not up. I literally thought I was going to puke.
Here's the best part.
We had like 10 clips out of that, which is incredible.
Well, is it he did this interview on his own? This was not done through the publicists and PRs through Top Gun Maverick. Like, there wasn't a publicist on the phone listening like there normally would have been. This was just him on his own time. Like, I'm going to talk to these Orange Bowl. I'm going to talk to these Miami Hurricanes podcasts.
Because of his fandom.
Yes, that's the only reason. Yes.
It's amazing. Amazing.
So good. All right, what are we going to name this, boys?
Fanboy.
Yeah, it's got to be Fanboy. Good shit. All right, on that note, hope you all enjoyed this one. As always, go Canes!
Help! I've got tone. Bang!
Fire! That's another episode in the books. The Orange Bowl Boys are brought to you by Ed Morse Automotive Group. Visit edmorse.com.